Welcome back to All About Winning Daily Fantasy Sports. My name is Ty Patton. Week 3 is in the books, and I'm happy to report that if you would have used my player pool this past weekend, it was possible to construct a lineup that would have outscored the eventual winning lineup for the Draftkings Millionaire contest in Week 3. I did not personally construct this lineup, but it is my hope that someone used my research and strategy to build lineups that help them be somewhat successful. Let me recap this and show you the results. The winning lineup actually scored 275.70 points. They had Winston at quarterback, Lindsey at running back, Burkhead at running back. That was a really good pick. Jones at wide receiver, Evans at wide receiver, Allen at wide receiver, Waller at tight end. In the flex, they had Christian McCaffrey. And defense, special teams, they had the Panthers. And when I said Burkhead was a really good pick, they did that. Burkhead was only $3,900 running back. Obviously, he's number 2 on the depth chart. But I'll show you with our player pool that I developed, you didn't even have to go there. But that was a really good pick for them. Used all $50,000 of the salary that was available. And again, the score was 275.70. In comparison, this is the lineup that you could have constructed out of my player pool. Winston at quarterback, McCaffrey at running back, Lindsey at running back, Evans at wide receiver, Allen at wide receiver, and Aguilar at wide receiver, Olsen at tight end, Mark Ingram at flex, and defensive special teams, the Packers. This would have given you a total score of 284.90 compared to the winning lineup, which had a score of 275.70. 9 points better. And I only used $48,400, which is $1,600 under the full salary cap that's allowed. To reiterate this, it just goes to show that if you narrow down and construct lineups and get the right combination, it was possible from the player pool that I provided this past weekend. As a reference, I encourage you to look back at my Saturday, September 21st video where I talked about all these players. This is inspiring as well as disappointing, but now it's time to get back to work and focus on week 4. Before we do that, let's take a deeper look into the week 3 results and what they reveal. Then we will take a look at tonight's showdown contest on DraftKings. The first thing I noticed when I looked back at the numbers yesterday was the fact that the projections are starting to catch up with the results. The first couple weeks, projections, the results weren't matching the projections. Very first week, not one receiver that was in the top 5 even finished in the top 20. And we had similar results in week 2, but now they're starting to catch up in week 3. Now, looking back, before I give you the actual results, I wanted to tell you a couple things that I did. I had blinders on. I was convinced that the best lineup construction this past week was Winston and Evans, and bring it back with Barkley. I had blinders on with Barkley, and actually all I had to do was go down to McCaffrey, save a little money, and grab some of the other players that were in my player pool. And as I mentioned in my previous videos and recap, it's really easy to do this after you see the results. Now let's take a look at the actual results from yesterday. The top 5 quarterbacks were Wilson from Seattle, 44.34 points. Jones from the Giants, 39.24 points. Those two quarterbacks, Wilson was only 1% owned. Jones was 1.6% owned. Then you had Mahomes. He came in number 3 with 30.86 points. He was one of the highest owned quarterbacks on the slate at 8.4%. Watson from Houston scored 29.84 points. And Winston was number 5. He came in at 29.50 points. He was 6.6%. Now Mahomes was actually projected to be number 1, and came in number 3. Watson was projected number 7. He came in number 4, and Winston was projected number 11 and came in number 5. So you can see the projections are really close to what the actual outcomes were. The top 5 running back scoring yesterday were Ingram with 38.50 points. He was 6% owned. Kamara, 37.10 points. That was a really good pick. He was only 3.4% owned. A lot of people were off of him because of what happened the week before. That's the thing I talk about called recency bias. And with the ownership, 3.4%, you hardly ever see that with Alvin Kamara, especially with Drew Brees there. McCaffrey was projected number 1, had the highest ownership at 22.2%, and he scored 30.50 points. Lindsey scored 29 points. He was only 2.9% owned, and he was actually projected number 19. And Dalvin Cook was projected number 5, came in number 5, scored 27.30 points, and was 23.7% owned. So you can see McCaffrey and Cook were 2 of the highest owned. They were projected in the top 5 and ended up scoring in the top 5. Wide receiver, Evans was number 1 with 48 points. Allen was number 2 with 46 points. And I really liked those plays. And the combination, I had that combination in a lot of the lineups that I played yesterday. Lockett was number 3 with 35.40 points. Shepard from the Giants was 4th with 30.10 points. He was only 2.2% owned. And Julio Jones was number 5 with 29.80 points. He was 10% owned. Allen was projected number 3, came in number 2. Julio was actually projected number 1 and came in top 5. So once again, you see the projections are close to what we're seeing in scoring. Tight end, Waller was the number 1 scoring tight end yesterday with 30.10 points. Ingram was number 2 with 26.30 points. He was also the highest owned at one of the highest owned at 10.5%. Olsen came in at 25.50 points. He was 8.2% owned. Hooper from Atlanta scored 24.60 points and came in number 4 at 2.7% owned. And Atkins from Houston scored 22.30 points and was owned by 0.1%. So tight end, Ingram was projected in the top 5 and ended up number 2. The big names aren't in there. Kelsey, Ertz, they're missing. So maybe tight end hasn't caught up as much, but tight end has so much variance from week to week. Defense and special teams, number 1 was the Jets. Believe it or not, they were 0.3% owned against New England as a 22-point underdog, I believe. Came in and were the highest scoring defense yesterday with 2 defense returns. They scored 16 points. Saints came in number 2 at 14 points. Lions were number 3 at 13 points. Packers, number 4 with 13 points. And Panthers, number 5 with 13 points. That kind of goes against one of the theories that I use with picking my defenses. I like home favorites and the big favorites. Well, the Jets were the biggest underdog and scored the most points. So there you go. Now it's time to get to work on week 4. With week 4, I did want to mention that this begins the bye week. This week we have San Francisco and the Jets on bye. And your 3 primetime games that won't be on the main slate on Sunday are Philadelphia at Green Bay on Thursday, the Cowboys at the Saints on Sunday night, and the Bengals at the Steelers on Monday night. Those won't be on the main slate, and they won't be in the player pool that I developed through the week. I will be doing quarterback tomorrow, taking a first look at the quarterback. Wednesday we'll do running back. Thursday we'll do wide receiver. Friday we'll do tight end, defense, special teams, and then Saturday we'll put it all together and put together a millionaire maker. So now let's take a look at the showdown contest for tonight's game, which is the Bears at Washington. Some things to remember with the showdown are strategy, matchup, and how can I be different. That doesn't mean go all the way to the bottom, find a couple players that are $200 and put a couple studs at the top. Not saying that couldn't win, but by being different is have a differentiate yourself by maybe having a different captain, someone who's lesser owned in the captain spot. Me, myself, I like to put a running back or a wide receiver in the captain spot. That's what is usually in the winning showdown lineup, is a running back or a wide receiver. But there have been cases where there's been a quarterback or there's been a tight end. It's all about how you think the game's going to go, how you game script. And I can tell you right now, a lot of people are blinded by the Bears. Their defense is very formidable, and they can turn a game and take control of a whole game in a hurry. But tonight there will be a lot of people that have the Bears in the captain spot, the Bears in the flex. If you have them in the flex spot, you can actually, I believe they're only 6,000. Yeah. Well, the Redskins are 6,000. If you put the Redskins in the captain spot, they're 6,000. If you put the Bears in, they're 9,000. And that frees up a lot of players on the bottom. And that might be the way to go. That's not necessarily the way I'm going to go tonight. I'm going to try to be just a little bit different. And I'm going to give you an example of how. Like I said, I like to start out with a wide receiver or a running back in the captain spot. So I'm going to go down here, and there's a couple guys from the Redskins that are getting a lot of targets. This Trey Quinn, you open that up. He's getting, in 2 games, he's had 13 targets in 2 games, so 6.5 targets a game. Scored 1 touchdown. He's getting targeted. Another, that McLaren McLaren's getting 9 targets or 8 targets a game. That's a lot. You know what? I think I'm going to start out with McLaren in the captain spot. The Redskins are a home underdog. If something happens that the Bears defense, say the Bears score, the Redskins get the ball back, they have a turnover, the Bears score again. Now you're starting to ease out of the Redskins running the ball because they got to catch up or they're going to get beat up. So I'm going to go with that game. I'm going to make a stand and go with the Washington's going to have to throw the ball to get back in the game and to compete. Or maybe they're so far behind that at the end of the game they get a lot of garbage points, and there you have McLaren getting targeted a lot by Keenum. Now I'm gonna team him up with I'm gonna make an opposite move. I'm gonna actually put, instead of teaming him up with Keenum, I'm gonna put not Keenum. I'm going to put Trubisky in there. They're only $200 apart. And I'm going to give Trubisky one of his targets. I'm going to go down. Robinson's going to be real chalky tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and use Gabriel. Gabriel's the number 2. And so there you go. I got McLaren for Washington. Trubisky throwing it to Gabriel. And kickers are really nice to have in a showdown because they provide what's called a floor. They're going to score something. It's very unlikely that you'll get the big fat 0 with the kicker. If you do, that means the other defense is going to do good. So If you think that the Bears are going to shut out the Redskins, then you want to have the Bears defense and not the Redskins kicker. But the Bears kicker, Pinheiro, is expected to make the trip to Washington for Monday's game. Hasn't been decided yet. The Bears must disclose of players who didn't make the road trip, and they didn't file any such notification. So Pinheiro made the trip. He's going to be kicking. Now, will he be kicking long field goals? I'm not sure, but by putting him in there, that frees up quite a bit of salary. $9,400 left per player. And you know what? If you wanted to, and I'm going to take a chance, and instead of the Bears defense, I'm going to plug in the Redskins defense. Now I have the Redskins defense. Say, for instance, let's get switched around, and the Redskins get a turnover for a touchdown, and Trubisky to stay in the game. Let's say the Redskins shut down the running game for the Bears, and the only thing that the Bears are having luck with is the passing game. So now I got Trubisky in there, Gabriel, and we could go back up to his number one target because we got enough salary left. That leaves $5,000 on the table. So you could take out Pinheiro and see if you could get a better scoring player. Just Cohen. Can't really get up to Keenum or Montgomery. Well, here's what you could do. You could go McLaren, getting the targets for the Redskins. Chris Thompson out of the backfield. The Bears don't do good with running backs that come out of the backfield. You could have Thompson in the flex with McLaren. That might eat up any of the scoring that they might do. Trubisky throwing to Gabriel and Robinson, his 2 targets. So we've cut out the Bears running game, which Washington's number 17 against the run. And let's see here. I wanted to check this. Wow, the Bears are actually number 29 against the run. So I got Thompson in there with McLaren, who's getting a lot of targets. Then I got Trubisky, and with two pass catchers. Got the Redskins defense. I don't think I can get up. Yeah, the Bears, it's out of reach. They're not going to let you put that lineup together. And I'm just going to be different by putting the Redskins defense. Leaves me $1,100 on the table. And in a showdown, that's okay. You can leave money on the table. That's how you're going to be different. Without, a lot of people think that being different means to just scroll down, find the $200 player, hope that he comes in because the game's out of hand and he falls into the end zone and you're the only one. You're the 0.1% that has that player. That's not really what it means by being different. Being different means having, not saying that couldn't happen, but being different means to construct a game script and have a different strategy than someone else. I have seen some people put players in and I'm thinking, what in the world would make them play that player? But that's not how I construct my lineups. This is just for fun, and it's a totally different game than the main slate, building lineups for that. So that's a quick look at the showdown for this tonight. Remember, come up with a game strategy, make a stance, differentiate yourself, and have fun with it. Like I said, I'm going to be posting the Week 4 quarterback strategy tomorrow, running back on Wednesday, wide receiver on Thursday, tight end, defense, special team on Friday, and then we're going to, like I said, put it all together and do some winning next Sunday. I appreciate your time, and before I go, I'd like to ask you to please subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when my videos post. I'm going to try to have my videos done mid-afternoon each day. And I'll see you tomorrow. We'll start talking about week 4. Thanks a lot.